Let me pull up this story from Timcast.com that should really grind your gears. New York City to house migrants in 4-star hotel where rooms cost hundreds per night. How come I don't get a 4-star hotel? What do you know? My taxpayer dollars paying for these people. This is the crazy thing about what's been going on, that we've got this massive breach of the southern border. Seems only to be getting worse. And then even when these people come in and are shipped around the country, these cities are propping them up, putting them up, and giving them the gold star treatment. Meanwhile, you've got Americans suffering under the opioid crisis. You've got unemployment, skyrocketing inflation. But it's the non-citizens who are being given all the privileges and the benefits. Cool. This is why a lot of people, like, aside from Texas, people are saying peaceful divorce or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, the term that flies around a lot is national divorce, and you see all these maps of people with different counties, and the red should, but that's not how this works, right? The good news is we got about 75 or 80 years of kind of world history to look at to see how this thing goes down, and the thing that I think should motivate people is to understand that this sort of divorce that we're talking about, states withdrawing from the union, relieves a tremendous amount of the pressure, right? I mean, how many articles have you seen recently where people are saying there's another civil war coming, right? Has it already started? But understand that when you allow states to stand up and be self-governing independent nations, they have the ability to say, let California govern California, let Texas govern Texas, let New York govern New York, and we can do like every other self-governing independent nation around the world. We can trade with one another. We can travel between one another. We can agree to defend one another when we have common national defense concerns. We can do the things that honestly the founders and framers probably envisioned for a union of the states much better than having to take a knee to 2.5 million unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Texas was also an independent country for about 10 years after the...
5 years, I think. Was it 5?
We got a solid 9 in.
9 years?
9 years.
Yeah.
9
Really?
years.
Oh,
They were their own country. And again, what New York City's doing is taking tax dollars, probably also from the federal government, and putting people in hotels right outside homeless drug dens, where the average citizen there is, of course, affected by the opioid epidemic that, of course, was engineered by Big Pharma and the regulators. Tim, I'm also seeing what you're seeing. I don't know if you want to talk about it specifically.
Seeing what?
What is happening to Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble's crashing.
But I also wanted to let you know that The Guardian on YouTube is having a live stream of Trump's announcement as well.
The Guardian on YouTube?
The Guardian on YouTube. So I think also if we play their stream, if we get in trouble and they don't, it shows a lot of hypocrisy that they're able to show the live stream and we're not able to show the live stream.
Where? I'm on the Guardian's
Bold
YouTube,
choice
but I
there,
don't see
Cotton.
it.
So hold on, I'm gonna find out right now. The exact title and the exact channel. It's Guardian News. It's the channel with 2.9 million followers, and it's called Donald Trump expected to announce. Yeah, so that's live right now. And
look at
that safeguards us a little bit as Rumble is down. We could watch
the concern here is that Trump's going to say things, and YouTube did this. I think they did to Crystal and Sagar over at Breaking Points. They've done it to RSBN. They've done it to major. I think even like ABC got hit once. I think it was maybe Fox. Because you report on what Trump says, they shut you down. And it's the craziest thing.
Well, YouTube popped us. We did. So last session, we filed the Texas Independence Referendum Act. The committee didn't give it a hearing. State Affairs didn't give it a hearing. So we did what was effectively a virtual hearing. We had voters submit videos in the style of testimony, and we ran it. And the whole thing was like 24 hours worth of testimony. And we streamed portions of it on YouTube as we did it. And sure enough, man, we got popped with a community strike or one of those violations for testimony, like literally testimony of voters. And there was none of that, it wasn't people talking about the voter fraud or anything else.
I will stress this, though. I will file a lawsuit in 30 minutes if YouTube does that to us, because we have a contractual agreement. And this is where Alex Berenson actually won with Twitter. There's a contractual agreement that every user has with the platform they use, especially for a show like ours that is a financial contract that we produce content, revenue is sold by YouTube, the revenue is split. If they breach that contract by suspending our access without us doing anything wrong, then I'm going to hold them personally responsible for the lost revenue, and then demand an immediate reinstatement. And at the very least, the strike lasts for about a week, but I'll pursue it all the way to the end to get that money back. The point is this. No one here is claiming there's fraud. No one on this show. If Donald Trump makes some statement that violates their rules, it is not us as doing a show and offering commentary. They can play those games all they want, but I'll sue in 2 seconds. Doesn't mean we'll win. But
Go get him, Tiger.
Well, that's what we saw. Alex Berenson got suspended from Twitter.
Yeah.
And they successfully sued, saying that the Twitter made an agreement that he would be given notice of anything he did wrong, and they didn't. They just removed him, and they removed him because the White House was pressuring Twitter to do so. So he got reinstated.
There's also a very compelling case showing, hey, the Guardian and the corporate media gets to do this. Why can't we do this if it's really a violation of their rules and regulations? Why are they allowed to do it and we aren't? And this has been happening throughout so many years on YouTube, specifically allowing the corporate media to play by a different set of rules while, of course, hurting people that do exactly what they do, showing the same footage, showing the same kind of accounts, making the same kind of arguments, showing the same debates. But if you don't have the connections with, of course, the establishment, if you're not the corporate media, if you're not the approved press, you get punished and dinged by it. How can a judge see something like that and say, yeah, this is accurate, this is totally okay for a multinational corporation to do on the world stage when it comes to a major information highway, when it comes to the public interest, the public good? It's absolutely inexcusable what YouTube has been doing recently, and it deserves to be pushed back on.
I think it also is important if someone on your show starts spouting off and saying things that are violate the site's terms of service, that you push back and explain that that's violating terms of service and you can't.
But
do
is
that.
the Guardian going to do that? Is the Guardian, if Trump says something, is the Guardian going to stop the stream and say Trump was wrong? Are they going to do that?
We
No.
will do that. And it's
Okay.
important that we do, because people need to know what the terms of service are, firstly, and why things are happening the way they're happening.
But
so
where
they don't
do
get
you have
confused.
where do you have reporting and where do you have commentary?
I don't know what this is all about.
What is?
Is video available?
The video's
to
now
private?
private.
The Guardian made it. They're watching the show. They're like, oh, they're on to us.
They know.
It's no longer a secret.
Yeah, it's gone. The
Guardian just shut down. The Rumble is back up from what I'm seeing.
But why did the Guardian shut down their stream? Maybe they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get banned."
Yeah.
I'll say this: like, what YouTube has done with the censorship rules has created this ridiculous media system that if we host an interview with someone and that individual says bad things, we are held responsible for it. Like, so what? Don't interview anybody ever again?
Right.
How are we going to challenge bad ideas? How can we put really bad ideas in check? We can't. And when you have so much censorship, you not only destroy the narrative, but you essentially try to, of course, have some kind of psychotic mind control by not even explaining the rules clearly. The terms and services are very vague, they're very generalized, and many times people get punished and they're not even told these vague generalized rules, and they have to self-censor themselves, which destroys the discourse and destroys human progression. Human progression is on parallel with free speech. The more you deny free speech, the less humans prosper. And it's ridiculous.
You know,
what's
speaking
happening.
of challenging bad ideas, I want to talk about secession. I'm just kidding. That was a joke, by the way. But
that was nice.
I do want to talk about it because
But your deadpan delivery threw me.
Did you like it?
Oh,
I'm,
wow.
I'm actually very concerned about it because it's what kicked off the Civil War. The first American Civil War was a secession movement.
Won't it be great that it'll prevent one this time?
Well, what I'm concerned about is a situation where Texas is like, we're out, we voted, we're done, and the federal government's like, nah, that's our oil. We send it around the country. That's our Gulf. That's our Gulf. Our Gulf of Mexico access. We want it, and we need that Mexican trade route. So we're taking it back. You can't walk with our property. And then there's just comes to blows. Other states are like, hey, federal government, you can't just go in on a state like that. They're sovereign. Then they join the secessionist movement, something like that again. And how would you avoid something like that?
Well, I think what we're doing is trying to avoid that. I mean, that's why we're following a process. And this is what I tell people. You know, the good news is that when we woke up today, it wasn't the 1800s, right? So post-Civil War, the world kept spinning, things started happening, and the position on this has evolved quite a bit, right? So you look at what the federal government has done, literally since 1945, I'd say, you know, post-World War II. They've sent our grandfathers, grandmothers, fathers, mothers, some of the people probably watching today, our sons and daughters, like including my son, off to fight, protect, bleed, some instances die for the right of self-determination for other people. So, you know, what we're talking about here in this process is effectively the process that we have seen the United States protect around the world, which is You put a question of this importance to the people, you let them debate the issue, and then you let them vote on it, and then you respect the outcome of the vote. Now, that being said, could the federal government react poorly? Sure they could. But, what does that say then ultimately about the federal government, right? What does it say? Because at the moment they begin to start acting like Bashar al-Assad or North Korea or, any of these other folks, I mean, they pretty well just told us exactly why we're doing, they've legitimized our position and why the people of Texas voted that way anyway.
Do you think that Abe Lincoln reacted poorly when he started a war to stop the secession?
Do I think he reacted poorly? Yeah, I believe Abe Lincoln probably reacted poorly. I think that probably could have been handled. But here's the thing. I'm not here to adjudicate the past, right? I'm not here to try to look back and second guess what happened in the 1800s. I'm here to try to look forward to see what Texas can do to prevent what's happening to it right now.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.